touching it.
Right.
My favorite is to kind of spiralize, that's a hard word to say, the squash, and creating a refreshing summer salad. But there are tons of ways to utilize, store, and there's all kinds of different types of squash. Here is our produce professor, Nick Conforti Jr., schooling us on what's fresh. Summer squash is so refreshing. It tastes wonderful. So let's do a little summer squash 101.
Absolutely.
First, what do I look for when I'm picking out a squash?
Well, among all the summer squashes, you're going to be looking for pretty much the same things. You're going to make sure that they're, for the most part, free of blemishes, free of decay. If they have like a few little nicks on them, you're going to be okay. They're just little nicks that happen during shipping. But the big thing that you want to look for is any signs of decay on the ends.
On the ends.
So on the blossom end, if you look, and it's overly soft, and you can press, and there's a lot of give to it.
Is this the blossom end?
Right.
Okay.
Then that's going to be a bad sign. And the other thing to look for, the smaller the squash, the more flavor that it's going to have.
Oh, interesting.
So that's just one thing to look for.
Okay, very good. Now let's talk about preparing. Do we cut? Do we chop? Do we peel? Do we spiralize? What do we do with these?
Well, there's a number of different ways that you can prepare them. You can roast the summer squash. Pretty much just dice them up, mix them up with some olive oil, sprinkle some seasonings on them, throw them in the oven at about 425 degrees for 15-20 minutes, and you're going to have a great side to your meal. Another thing that you can do, grill them. Just cut them in half, throw them on the grill, braise them with some olive oil or any kind of sauce that you like, about 5 minutes on each side, and you're all set. Sauteing, one of the favorite things that I like to do, whether you throw it in with your stir fry, just saute them, make them a side by themselves.
Wonderful. What about storage? Is there a proper way to store these?
Storage, like a lot of vegetables, keep them in a plastic bag, probably 5 days.
Okay,
you're going to be
is
okay.
that your limit?
But after you cut them, and this goes for all vegetables, after you cut them, it's going to minimize the shelf life. So as soon as you cut them, you're going to want to use them quicker than if you left it intact. And we can kind of talk about some of the different varieties. So so these here, you have your crookneck, yellow squash. This is kind of a new variety that a lot of people wouldn't know about. This is called gray squash, or some people refer to it as Mexican squash. Has a little bit lighter color. It's going to be a little bit more mild in flavor, but still have great texture. This is one that a lot of people probably haven't seen yet. And that's yellow zucchini. Really, all that is a different color. As far as taste, texture, everything else, exactly the same. And then classic zucchini, favorite of everybody. It's going to be the most tender of all of them. So it's going to require the least cooking time, whereas yellow squash is going to be a little bit denser, and so
a little longer.
So you can steam that, cook that a little bit longer, and be okay.
Nick, what are some of the health benefits of the summer squash?
Well, it's very low in calories, fat-free, sodium-free, and very high in vitamin C.
If you have a question for the produce professor, you can simply ask him. Tweet him at ProduceProKC, so ask him any of your questions. You can also go online to cncproduce.net to learn more about the homegrown company that's keeping things fresh all around Kansas City. And if you'd like